Hey, you guys. Oh, hey, I just got out of the tub. I'm just chilling. Sorry. I haven't had time to brush my hair out. What's up with everybody? I'm chill. I'm burning some incense. And a nice little candle. This is chill video. Oh, that's the heater. I was like, what the fuck? I'm still trying to get used to this chair. I'm in a weird chair. Okay, so what do I want to talk about tonight? I had something I wanted to tell you guys. Oh my god, my eyes feel sticky and filmy. I've got to get an eye checkup. Oh, earlier I heard something on YouTube. Damn it. I so wanted to tell you guys about it, and now it has gone right out of my head. It had to do with masculine and feminine energies. And the lady said, this dude was okay, and this is no offense to anybody. You can be any gender you want. I know. I understand what we have going on these days. I'm not living in some other century. I get it. You can be whatever gender you want to be. This doesn't apply to anybody in particular. No offense to anybody. Basically, I will be referring to heterosexual relationships, which is what I am. So, but she said, and it's perfectly fine for a dude to be in his feminine, and it's perfectly fine for a female to be in her masculine. All humans have both energies and both hormones, right? Right. So it's perfectly fine. I mean, whatever gender you identify with, that's fine. But what I'm referring to is in heterosexual relationships, when a man who identifies as male and his sexual orientation is straight, and he identifies as male, okay, when his masculine energy, when his is not balanced, when he is too much in his feminine, this can cause extreme issues for the relationship. And I personally feel like, for me personally, I'm female. I identify as female. My sexual orientation is straight. Whatever. If I want that to change in the future, okay, maybe I will. It's, not any big deal. We are what we are. I don't have anything against anything else. I think love is love. But for me personally, I feel like with what I identify with, okay, although I identify as feminine, I have always been just a bit over on my masculine energy. A lot of my life, I do feel like I have been, and I used to be like, long before I was in the spiritual aspects of it, long before I was really thinking about balancing masculine, feminine energy, I used to be really, really into androgyny. I was really obsessed with that for a long number of years. I had this whole love for androgynous looks, and like the model Gia Karanji, how she did that androgynous look so gorgeous. And she had the Armani suits and the pinstripe suits, and her hair, kind of slicked back, and she was just so drop dead gorgeous as a feminine. But she did that masculine look, I just loved it. I really, and I still do. I still love androgynous looks, you know. But I had a time, even though I've kind of always been a girly girl, like growing up, they dressed me in frilly, frou-frou little dresses, and, I grew up wearing that stuff. I was in ballet, but, I was also going out with my dad, he was drinking beer and letting us shoot shotguns and do all kinds of crazy shit. So it's whatever. I kind of grew up between two extreme energies. But I guess due to what happened to me as a kid, the abuse, the violence, the violations, and then as I got into the streets and running away and different things like that, yeah, I think that I had to go more into my masculine energy. And I've always been kind of a tough chick like that, so to speak, if you want to put it that way. I used to be. I thought I had to look so tough and get some tattoos on my arms. I was one of the only girls in junior high, like 8th grade, that had a real fucking tattoo. And back in the 80s, that was unheard of. You didn't see young people doing that. And anybody ever. I had run away, and I had friends that knew how to make guns. And I came back with a tattoo when they caught me. A real tattoo. But yeah, I was in that energy. I have to look tough. Growing up. I remember being 14, and I would cut my hair about right here, and I would leave it long, kind of in the front, and then I would do this whole, I was too chicken to take the whole fucking side off. I never did that, but I would shave, like, just this much, like, right here, and I'd cut this part short, and I'd curl it up with the curling iron, so that was kind of short. That would be long right there. And then I'd have one strip here. I don't have a lot of pictures from back then, but yeah. So I'd do that whole thing, and I had the tattoos when I was 14. And I didn't have any piercings back then. But as I got, 11, 12, 13, I was still running around in shorts and sneakers and shit like that. But once I hit 14... my style kind of changed, and I never hesitated on that feminine. I was never just a strictly blue jeans and t-shirts girl. Never. It just depended on what I could get my hands on, but no, I always loved fashion, and I loved dresses, and I loved clothes, period. And so, yeah, I remember being 14 and 15, and I was all about dresses and style and my heels, and oh yeah, I thought I was real big shit at 14. I was so grown. I was trying to think of what I was doing. I was in a foster home at 14. I was actually several places the year of 14. I was also in Florida. I was also being extradited back to Arkansas. I was also in state custody. I had a lot going on when I was 14. I was also in DeWitt for a while. How many boyfriends did I have that year? My boyfriend, he was one of my first boyfriends. He put a tattoo on me that year too. Down in Florida. I think I had at least a couple boyfriends that year. So anyway. But yeah, so I had that whole thing growing up. I had to look tough. And I did wear a lot of jeans, combat boots. I had those days where some days I wanted to look tough and masculine. I was into that a lot also in my 20s, late 20s. There were a lot of days where I would reflect my physical pain, and a lot of days if I was depressed or in a lot of physical pain or I was going through something hurtful in a relationship, I would dress really tough. I don't know what the fuck that deal was. It just reflected, I don't know. I guess now that I think about it, I didn't study that as much back then, but now that I think about it, that makes perfect sense. Because my feminine energy was imbalanced. And I also, a lot of the years growing up until I was nearly fucking 30, I had a really hard time with females, with women. And I had more masculine friends, more male friends, and I truly enjoyed, because I have 4 brothers. Come on. So, that's another reason I'm kind of, I was close to my dad, even though he abused the shit out of me. But, yeah, that all kind of makes sense to me, though. For a long number of years, I did, I had girlfriends growing up, yeah. Real tough-ass chick I used to run around with down south. I did have some female best friends, but as I got older, and my kids came along, and then after my marriage split, I found myself, having a lot of dude friends, and I truly enjoyed their company. Not just, it wasn't always, I'm attracted, I want to sleep with them. No, I had brothers, so I always felt comfortable and natural and just kicking it with dudes. Always. I liked that friendship a lot because of my brothers. I was really, really close to my brother that's close to my age. I have 3 other brothers, but I was closest to him for a long number of years. We just had the best times, growing up when we were really close. And so, yeah, I kind of shied away from females in my 20s. And I would only really be around, my sister was like my best friend, but I would only be around whoever I was dating, or I had a male roommate for a long time, or I would go hang out at Pizza D and kick it with, I knew all kinds of dudes, and I just liked to kick it with them. It was what it was. But I will also say that typically, if you look deeper psychologically, there are reasons for that. If people don't, for me, okay, there were reasons why, deeper psychological reasons why I didn't bond with and feel the same connection with my own gender, because I think when I was growing up, I felt betrayed by that. In my home, my father had all the power, and he made my mother look weak, and he was abusive and controlling, and my mom was scared, and she really couldn't do much about it. Didn't stand up to it much, so and she and I had an odd relationship growing up. It wasn't very, mothering, nurturing. It was just different. So that makes sense to me. Yeah, why I didn't trust females. And I just had a different kind of energy where I got along better with dudes. But as I got to be close to 30, oh boy, I had quite a life. think the dude energy had just about enough. I had just about enough, okay? I lots of dudes, lots of dude friends, 2 sons, brothers, lots of male friends, male roommate, male boyfriends. Just, I'm overrun with dudes, okay? And that's fine. That's cool. But I was also in and out of therapy a lot and doing my spiritual and emotional work too. And I was growing, healing. I noticed the more work I did to heal, also, my mother and I did quite a bit of work after my grandmother died. We had quite a bit of conversations about childhood and, things that we really hadn't talked about. And I kind of noticed over the years, as I got closer to 30, I met a girl. And don't get me wrong, I knew females in my 20s, yeah. Like my hairdresser, I considered her a really great friend. And, I just did not run and kick it with a bunch of females, though. Not like I did dudes. But anyway, I met another girlfriend, a couple more girlfriends, actually, when I got closer to 30. And I really connected to them. And one of them she was just a really wonderful person, really mothering, and, like an older sister. I have a younger sister. And she's a really fantastic person. And so I noticed from then on, I started to bond with women a lot more. And I felt good about healing some of that, and getting to the point where, here's the deal, getting to the point where after doing some healing work, I realized that what happened in the past was the past. And yes, those mother-father wounds hurt us. We carry that all our life, and it will affect your life and your relationships. But I began to realize that as I healed, as I went to therapy and I addressed, you can't just say, I'm healed. Look, I'm being a better parent. Look, I'm raising my kids differently. I'm making sure, they're safe. Or I was doing all of that. That was a part of the healing too. Being able to love and nurture my children and have what I felt like was a pretty wonderful relationship. It wasn't perfect, but that was part of it too. But as I went to therapy and we got into some of these wounds, it would come up. And as my mother and I would hash things out, you have to bring it up. It's not going to fucking heal itself. And I know that some of you have brought it up to your parents and you've been shut down. I know that. Oftentimes, if you were abused or neglected by a parent, or they let something happen to you, or whatever happened, if the parent's narcissistic or they haven't healed, or if they're still in denial about how they treated you, or if they haven't grown mentally and emotionally, they're not going to give you what you need, even in old age. They're going to gaslight, they're going to lie, they're going to pretend, oh, I didn't do, or you're hurting my feelings. Okay, fuck that. Cut that off right there. I don't deal with that shit. I don't appreciate it. And sometimes I get more mad at other people's fucking parents than my own. I don't appreciate that shit. Y'all need to give y'all's grown kids the closure that they need. You need to go on ahead and take one for the team. But if, it is what it is. But I know grown middle-aged people who they might be really self-destructive. They might be really traumatized. They might be addicted and all these things. And I've seen middle-aged people make little attempts to talk about what happened to them, and their parents shut them the fuck down. Their parents, even though they're 60 and 70 years old now, are not willing or able to give that grown child the closure they need, the acknowledgement they've been wanting all their life, the validation and the acknowledgement. I'm sorry this happened to you. I did this to you. I'm really sorry. Is there anything you want to say to me? They don't open that channel. They don't make it safe. And so these grown people, have to go right back into their damn shell. They have to fucking go right back. And they might make a little attempt to get that love, that acceptance, that acknowledgement they always wanted from that one parent. And a lot of times it's just not going to happen. I know one person that tried it, and the father attacked him. But, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened. He might have said it in a way that, I don't know. But I know this. If you're a fucking parent, I don't give a fuck how old you are, and your kid comes to you and says, hey, I want to talk to you about some things that happened when I was a kid. Then I suggest you fucking listen and talk to him about it. Why not? But a lot of people are narcissistic as hell. They're locked up in that ego. They don't want to. And it's sad because I know a lot of middle-aged people that are fucked up because of the way a parent treated them. And it scarred them for life. Lifelong addicts trying to build up their self-esteem, fit in, codependency, all kinds of issues. And still wanting that validation from that parent. Still, now, to this day, even in middle age, carrying that wound. I know a lot of middle-aged people walking around in their wounded inner child. Oh, fuck yeah. Still wanting that apology, that closure, just something, some kind of acknowledgement from that abusive parent that abused them way back in the day and has never, but I know what that's like. And luckily, I had a good therapist to teach me what to do. It took me a while because you never stop wanting that from the parents. It takes a lot of healing work. It takes a lot of time, determination. You'll be going along for years doing shit that you don't even know why you're doing it. Like, damn, why am I always going out of my way for my mom or for my dad? And they don't even notice. They don't even say thank you. They don't even... And you'll be like, damn, why am I doing all this? What? Because somebody said that's what you're supposed to do? And then you'll figure out, oh, yeah, I'm still wounded. Yeah, a lot of times people are still trying to get that approval, that acknowledgement, whatever it was they didn't get. But we do what we can. I'm not going to give out any advice about what people should do with their families or their parents. Just do the best you can. Love people while they're here if that's what makes you feel comfortable. If they don't make you feel comfortable, they don't treat you right, cut them off. Hey, either way, whatever you feel is best. I'm not telling anybody what to do in that regard, but basically, as I began to heal myself more, I needed less. Isn't it great? Duh. Yeah, I had a good therapist to teach me, how to stop that cycle of wanting that approval, that validation, that everything that parent couldn't give you. If they're toxic and they're not going to give it to you, and this goes for your partners too, just cut that off. Don't expect it. Don't want it anymore from them. Not be bitter. Give it to yourself. Yeah. And the more you do that healing work and you empower yourself, you validate yourself, you accept yourself, I don't know, something magical happens. It does. Just over time, you notice differences in yourself. And so, yeah, back to the masculine, feminine energy imbalances. Like I say, the more I began to also heal that mother wound. Now, it's never going to be all the way gone. It is what it is. I grew up with a certain type of mother, certain type of father. Those dynamics are always in place. They're always going to be there. There's certain things I didn't get that I had to learn to give myself, or I had to find other, like my therapist or certain people that were very nurturing. And my children's father was actually very nurturing to me too. It's very mothering to me. In a certain way, he was very kind and very caring, and that was great. But yeah, I noticed that as I started to really work more on that mother wound, and she and I were getting to the root of a lot of stuff, and she wouldn't shut me down all the way. Some people's parents will, but she would try to kind of avoid it and squirm around topics when I would bring them up and ask questions and say, and I would, talk to me. Nowhere to run. We're going to talk about this. Look at me, not the floor. Don't worry about the unicorns in the sky. Don't worry about any of that shit. Right here, right here. Yeah, I've been dealing with that kind of stuff all my life. Yeah, my partner wasn't the first. I've been well trained on trauma brain. But because we did that work, we hashed a lot of things out. Eventually I would pin her down and, do that uncomfortable work. We did that for a lot of years, a lot of conversations, and, in and out of therapy, and then, a lot of study and reading. And over time, I noticed changes in myself. Ooh, I better go in a minute. Yeah, so I noticed that my connection to females, I started to feel right with that. Yeah, whatever, trust issues, I just don't relate to women, or whatever the fuck I was, into when I was younger. That subsided quite a bit. And I knew I needed it to. I knew for me personally. Now, for any other woman, dude, whatever the fuck ever, whatever gender, okay, I'm scared I'm going to say the wrong damn thing. I don't want to do that. I don't mean to if I do. But for me personally, I knew that I needed to balance that. I wanted to balance that. And be in the company of women more. Yeah, I needed that. I had been, no offense to dudes, but I had been, in an imbalanced energy for too long. And I personally feel like that is part of our healing work for some of us. So these people out here, I see your ass. You only feel comfortable. Dudes that only feel comfortable only hang out with girls. Chicks only hang out with, okay, if it's too imbalanced, it's because that man has issues, doesn't trust his father, couldn't rely on his father, trust issues, abandonment issues, insecurity issues, in his own masculine and the company of men, his peers. If it's too imbalanced, and I'm a dude, but I can only bond to females. That's it. And I'm not talking about if you can be any gender, you can identify with whatever you want. But I'm talking about men who identify as men, who are also heterosexual, who have childhood traumas, dad issues, mother issues, okay? Typically, this is the way it will go. They will not be able to align their masculine energy. They will be way over in their feminine energy. See, it all makes perfect sense to me now. Last relationship I was in, I'm just saying. And I tried everything in the world to kind of help him back to his own masculine power. I didn't want to take that from him. I wanted him to be whatever he wanted to feel. And I accepted that. I wanted to mainly be a friend first and foremost. And I didn't judge for the longest time. This person was broken, had a terrible tragedy. I've always liked and appreciated men that I felt like were in touch with their emotional side, that were in touch with their feminine side. I appreciate that because we have both. And it's really good to, yes, be in the gender that we want to identify with, but at the same time, it is healthy and good to be able to touch base with and access our opposite energy when we need to. And to be able to relate to that opposite sex. We can access that energy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have it balanced. But yeah, as I healed a lot of things as time went on, I began to feel more and more comfortable in my feminine. And that just got better and better and better. You know? Oh, I know. I know all about you tough chicks. I know. A lot of y'all. I know. It's okay. It's okay. We all do different things. We might go through several phases. We might be quite sexy and promiscuous one day and dress a certain way, and then the next day we might be straight dude, nothing, whatever. It's just whatever a person's comfortable with. But for me personally, that's what I wanted to do. That's what made me feel more whole and complete, was to work on some of those issues, heal some of those issues, and damn.